Hello, friends, and welcome to the show. Another episode. I'm Joe. I get to play the host today, and the best part of my every week. Today, I have the great honor to spend some time with Dr. Monte Randall, president of the College of the Muscogee Nation. Thanks for joining us today, Monte, and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate this opportunity and looking forward to spending some time with you.
Let me call you up right away because I know traditionally you like to introduce yourself.
Thank you for that. Yes, Estongo Abika Talladega Amadowit Moment Ijo Ogi Does Jo Ili Hajoji Chahojif Kudos Moment Muskogi Dowa Nakchoga Mahaga Soho Wija Mikodos. Greetings, everyone. I introduce myself in the Muscogee language in a cultural way. I let you know that I am from the Abika Talladega tribal town of the Muscogee Creek Nation, and I'm Deer Clan. And my English name is Monte Randall. I'm the president of the College of the Muscogee Nation. Thank you for having me.
Oh, so rich. So rich. Thank you. Thank you for that. And I think also to call you up, you've got to be one of the most nuanced and most interesting guests that we've had on the show because of your military experience, because of your excellence in academia, and because of just that rich culture and heritage that you come from. So I don't know if you bump into many people out there as interesting as you, but I just want to call that out right out of the gates, and I hope others are appreciating that of you as much as I do.
Well, I appreciate that. You know, yeah, there are some I meet across the nation. The other tribal college presidents, many of them have served in the military and serve as great mentors. But my background, I from Oklahoma, from a small school. I went right into the military right out of high school, and a lot of that is really, a lot of Native Americans. We have the honor of having some of the highest populations who serve in the United States military. For me, there is a long history of family who have served. My decision to serve in the United States military, was really, it wasn't so much of a sense of duty. It was really, for me. I really didn't have a lot of options.
Hmm.
And you find that in the military. You find that with a lot of us who enlist. Across the different races and ethnicities. A lot of us are there because we don't have a lot of options, and so a lot of Native American people, that's the reason. My older brother actually served. He went 1 year before I did, and then I followed him in the service as well, and I served for 4 years in the United States Navy aboard the USS Kearsarge. My duty station was on the flight deck, and I served as a aircraft firefighter on the flight deck of the USS Kearsarge, and learned a lot of great lessons. Saw a lot of great leaders and mentors. And even though I didn't realize it at the time, now in this position as a tribal college president and as a tribal leader of sorts, I really have understood that, and it's become a lot more apparent to me, as I left the military and served in the Oklahoma Army National Guard and went to a lot of different colleges and struggled, through the challenges. Like I said, I went to the military because really because I wasn't prepared for college. I
Hmm.
was, and I struggled for some time. I would do good, and then I had the capability. What really helped was calling back to some of those lessons in the military, but then also combining that with cultural leadership. It took me being at Haskell Indian Nations University and really finding some cultural mentors who actually found me, who really just kind of you know took me by the hand and made a connection through our language and through our culture, and showed me a way to be successful
So
and
good.
embraced who I was, as a Muskogee person, as a Native American veteran, as a college student, and I found success through education. It got me out of the jobs that I was doing. There's nothing wrong with those types of manual labor jobs, but it really, through education is where I was able to really prosper, and it was transformative. The education, and then later on to the University of Oklahoma, and then Oral Roberts University while I was working here at the College of the Muscogee Nation. That all of this combined with previous military experience, a strong cultural foundation,
Right.
and education has really brought me to
You're
where.
so perfectly placed. I mean, the doors of opportunities that have I often say it's not what you pursue in life, it's what ensues. It's just the things that happen along the way, and you've had some really good people along the way to kinda link arms with you to say, "Hey, here's how we're gonna get this thing done," or, pursue that goal. I've had those mentors in my life as well that have been life altering. But I want to talk about this transfer from boot camp, right, to a book report. Because when you and I first met, I asked you about some of the just really impressive research that you had done. Your long book report, some of us have done long book reports, but your dissertation, your research, it tackles one of the most critical challenges facing Native American education today. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we focused on the American Indian Life Skills Development Curriculum, where I did in my research, by Teresa Lafremboy. And it was a model of life skills development by Dr. Lafremboy and the Zuni Pueblo Indian community and elders in the 1980s. And so I took that model and applied it here at the College of the Muscogee Nation for incoming freshman students, and also looked at problem solving abilities.
So it was it the intergenerational trauma and the impacts of that?
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. That's what we were looking at, was the historical traumas, which leads us into these intergenerational traumas. Like myself, being a first generation college student, somebody who was underprepared, under resourced whenever I first started at college. I knew those challenges, and I knew, and through this research, I started to better understand why I was facing so many challenges, or why I was putting these barriers up myself. There were already a lot of challenges and barriers in place, but then I was also putting some of these up by this intergenerational trauma. And so that's what I looked at, was how do I intervene, or how do we intervene to better help our students, to get them in a better position to finish that first semester, to continue on to the next, and then eventually get to graduation. And so this life skills development curriculum that really connected with cultural learning, with
Mm.
our Muskogee language, with this community here on campus, facilitated by all of our Muskogee Native American faculty and staff members, and the community at large, the Muskogee Creek Nation, that is there as a backbone support for this community. All of that together, really help to increase our this group's problem solving abilities, and
So
that's really what
you didn't just study it. I mean, most people just kinda study it and then it sits in a binder in their bookshelves over here, but and it's not sitting in a dusty binder someplace. You're actively implementing these
we
insights as a
it,
college president. As a college president, usually you're on the balcony and you're not really into the operational, uh, that part of the campus, but you're actually using these as operational principles. What are you seeing? What are you seeing? What are some of the benefits of this practice?
self-esteem is so important. Self-esteem, communication, problem solving, planning for the future. Those were some of the aspects of it, and I really have seen a lot of that. Seen how that really makes a big difference. And so during the time I was actually the academic dean, so I was teaching classes, and I implemented that, and then it has been with me as a community leader, and now as a president. It's transformed my life, and
Yeah.
has continued to evolve into this practice as the college president. Some of the things that I also was looking at was leadership. So these historical traumas that we talk about, this intergenerational trauma, particularly historical traumas, we often focus on. For Native Americans, we'll look at the boarding schools, which had a huge impact. And we talk about how this was designed to eradicate our language and our culture, but it was also designed to take our leadership. And that's what some of the things, through BIA coming in, and for the Muscogee Creek really taking over our government. And so being intentional about not only reestablishing our language and our culture, revitalizing that, but also our leadership. And so that's one of the aspects that I focus on too, is how do we reclaim this leadership? How do we be intentional about setting our people up? Here at the college, our students, often a lot of our graduates continue on to work at the Muscogee Creek Nation in our service programs, in economic development, in the gaming industry, and in law enforcement. So we're sending a lot of our graduates right into the front lines of serving our people. And so taking these aspects of cultural leadership is the big payoff for us.
Folks, a leader who is out there reclaiming that space. Reclaiming that space. So honorable, and you strike me as so secure and so confident in the work as well. I want you to brag a little bit about CMN. It's unique. It's a very unique campus. I've tried to figure it out, but you can't because there's not a real template for it. It's growing also, so I'd love you to brag away. Tell us what.
College of the Muscogee Nation. We recently celebrated our 20th year, established in 2004. We're an associate granting institution. Our mission is to emphasize Native culture, values, languages, and self-determination. And that's really it. The tribal sovereignty. We want to be a vehicle for facilitating tribal sovereignty in all of these aspects of economic development, of language, culture, revitalization. Uh, we offer associate degrees, and 4 certificate degrees, growing campus community, growing student organizations here on campus, national organizations, technology. We're focusing, starting to pivot towards uh, advanced technology and STEM development. We're working on AI models, for our campus community, and mobile apps. So we just
I
recently,
just happened to see that
yeah,
just today. I saw a post. You've got a very unique mobile app that is very, very practical for your community, and I think a model for others to follow as well.
it's the Muskogee New Testament. It's the New Testament Bible, translated in the Muskogee language. This work took place in the 1800s. Post removal. So, originally our Muskogee people are from the southeastern part of the United States. We were removed to Indian Territory at that time, which is now Oklahoma. And during that time, missionaries came in and um, worked on this, this alphabet system, translated the Bible, created a dictionary with our assistance. But this is really so part of the revitalization work that we do is really creating our own curriculum. Um, we've taken this Bible, and the work that a lot of people have put a lot of work into this, from the reprinting of the text to the recording of the audio to bringing it into this mobile application and pulling it all together. So today it's a application, a mobile app. It's an audio New Testament Bible, and
It's
it
getting a lot of looks out there.
It is.
It is. It's getting a lot. When you walk around campus, and it's not a huge place, so people know you when you're walking around the campus, what makes you really smile? And because you've got a beautiful smile, Dr. Randall, what makes you proud, makes you smile about CMN and how it's becoming under your leadership?
Hearing our language, hearing our students having no hesitation of speaking our language on our campus. It's been a renaissance, really. This campus community. I've been here not quite from the beginning, but pretty close. Whenever it was an open field of grass, and then to the first building, to the second building, to where we are today. And to hear the language, it started with just our greetings, and then now, I walk across campus and students greet each other. They greet me. We greet faculty. We talk to one another. Not at this high fluency level yet, but to have no hesitation of speaking our language is what is really impressive, and what makes me smile on campus.
So good. So good. Well, I know your peers are leaning in right now. They're listening. They're running hard. They're running fast. They're lifting heavy things. I don't think it's going to get any easier leading our higher ed institutions in the near future. And we need to be propped up. There's just a lot of faith and hope that needs to keep us well postured in this work. So I'm wondering if you had just a last word, a piece of encouragement, some wisdom to give your peers who are running the same race, and then we'll close it up.
Strive for excellence. That's one of the things that has lasted with me through military service. Um, you know, while I was learning, reconnecting with my language and culture, and has always been a value of who I am, who what really establishes who I am. So strive for excellence. We may not always meet the mark, but let's continue to reevaluate. Let's continue to try and continue to always assess and see where we can improve, and just continue to move forward.
I think I could suit up and play, coach. Wow, that's more than a pep talk right there. Dr. Randall, thank you.
Thank you.
We've covered just a smidge, I think, of what we could cover in terms of what is good and productive on campus, and learned a ton from you. To our viewers out there, I would encourage you to keep the College of the Muscogee Nation on the watch. They're modeling some pretty impressive things that I think all of us can learn from. And to our viewers out there, thanks for joining us. This has been the show reminding you that everyone deserves to live in a community served by really healthy people like this amazing human right here that is building significant systems that are actually changing communities. And before we wrap up, I just need to ask you to do what the kids do, right? Thanks for tuning in. Hit that like button, share a comment, share the episode with a friend. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got one of those things too. Until next time, this is Dr. Joe on purpose to cancel all things average and just offering peace, and press on, friends.